At some point in our careers, we ask ourselves some version of this question. Is this it? Is this everything that I've worked for? Have I made it? And the honest answer to that question a lot of the time is maybe not. Maybe there's more. It doesn't really feel like what I've worked towards has actually fulfilled my dream. And oftentimes, on the other side of that question comes a lot of discovery. But what does it even mean to have made it? What does it mean for me to feel fulfilled and reach a point where I can say, I'm happy with where I am? And that's exactly why I've started this show and podcast, Making It Work. Making it work is not just about the I've made it stage. It's not about the arrival. It's about the process that we go through, building our careers, reaching new heights, and redefining what success looks like along the way. It's about the oftentimes exhausting, confusing process of building a career that's actually yours, that actually feels like it aligns with who you are. It's also about the in between, the juggling a 9 to 5 while building a side business that you care about. It's about the pivot that you go through that's messier than what we expect. And also the version of success that you're still figuring out and you don't have clarity on just yet. I myself love to watch podcasts, read all the personal development books, and I'm really fascinated with people's journey of how they go from where they started to reaching their own definition of success. But what I've struggled with as I've seen all the podcasts and all the shows out there is I don't feel like it goes to the level of depth that I need to feel like it's relatable, to feel seen, to feel heard, to see myself in their journeys. And what I found with a lot of podcasts nowadays is they're very curated. Everyone comes on with a mission or a vision of the message that they want to spread, which is amazing. But what I've been craving is a deeper insight into what it took for entrepreneurs, founders, creatives to get to where they are. And that's on a higher scale than just the external of their career. What actually went on internally? What were the pivots? What were the hard moments that they had to go through to reach their level of success? So, a couple weeks ago, right here in Vancouver, the annual TED conference and event happened. And I couldn't get in, unfortunately. But what I did do is I went out and set myself up for street interviews where I literally just walked up to anyone that was attending the conference that was coming in and out of the doors and approached them and just asked if they had 2 minutes so I could interview them on career fulfillment. I did this because I know that the attendees and the speakers at TED are really on the top of their career game. And these are people that are really living and breathing careers that they love. It's something that I think a lot of us can learn from and can draw inspiration from. And so I asked them different questions like, what's your definition of success? Do you feel like you've made it? How do you tackle work life balance and all that fun stuff? And I got amazing, very diverse answers, which made me start thinking I think everyone has their own definition of this. And how cool would it be to get to hear from more regular, everyday people that are doing things they love to understand what it means for them, how they came to find it, and what it's going to continue looking like for them going down the road. So, I had an idea for this podcast before doing the street interviews already. I had already done one interview, but I was even more hooked and fascinated by the wisdom that these people had to share. And I just thought I have to have longer conversations with some of these attendees, but also just generally other people who are building really exciting careers that they love. And one of the attendees and speakers that was there agreed to do a full podcast episode. So we literally set it up in 2 days. His name is John Lloyd. That's going to be one of the first episodes coming out. He's a big television producer in the UK, but I fell in love with the process, honestly. I think, again, my goal with this podcast is to bring on people who feel relatable. I want it to be about that regular journey that most of us are on in this life. I also wanted to share a little bit more about my journey in my career. I started as a CPA very early on, out of university, worked at one of the big four accounting firms, and worked my way up in finance. I held various different roles from audit days to working in the fintech space. And along the way, I met incredible people. I got amazing experiences and exposure to work that was ideal in that field. But I reached a point when I was working in industry already where I felt exactly what I described, which is this it? My entire life vision for myself was finishing school, graduating, going to get my CPA, and getting a good, well paid job. And I found myself there. I had already made it. But it somehow didn't feel like I made it. It felt like there was something else missing. I couldn't quite put my finger on it at the time, but what I did start doing during that time was started to really reflect inwards, and that's where my love for the personal development and professional development space arose. Um, I started reading all the books, listening to all the podcasts that are out there, really just starting to chip away at what this feeling could be that I'm experiencing, and what are ways that I can navigate it and also overcome it to some level, because it was quite uncomfortable in the moment. That journey took me to realizing that I am fascinated and always have been by people's biographies, by people's journeys, how they get through the hardest moments of life, how they build big things like businesses, and really the soft skills that you need behind that. Because being an accountant, I had all the hard technical skills. That's something that you learn in school, and nowadays you can honestly learn online on your own. But the soft skills was what I was really fascinated by. How do some people develop discipline and consistency and others don't? How do you continue working through really hard moments when you feel like you're headed for failure, but you persevere anyways? Um, what else does it take in your environment and support system to be able to reach the heights that you want to? All of this I was very, very fascinated by. And like I said, the podcasts that I listened to and the books that I read somewhat answered those questions for me, but I felt like there was more. There was more depth that I wanted to go into to even understand the psychology of humans and how we make these decisions and how we navigate these paths in general. That's what led me into registering for my coaching certification. So I decided, all right, I've already worked in this accounting field. I'm continuing to build experience in it. What is a way that I could actually start dipping my toes into the personal development space, professional development space? How can I actually pair those two in a line of work that's very unique to me? And the way that I thought about doing that is through a coaching profession. I thought about becoming a therapist at that point because that also felt very appealing to me at the time. But I didn't want to go back to school for so many years. So I thought, well, what's a way that I can do this where I'm able to actually learn this skill of personal development to apply not just to myself, but start helping others too? When you're in a field like finance, law, marketing, or anything in corporate, really, you have this trajectory where you can build and become a people leader. And that was a very appealing path to me at the time as well. And so I thought, why not also learn coaching skills so that I can one day lead a team, maybe perhaps build my own business one day and learn all the skills that it takes for that. So that was another reason that I decided to go into my coaching certification. I completed it and I honestly fell in love with the line of work. I've since built a coaching practice where I coach one on one professionals, mostly in corporate or navigating that transition from corporate to doing their own thing and helping them really with every step along the way. I always say it starts with career clarity of what do you actually want and what are you working towards. It then goes into some form of a pivot. For some people, that is making their way higher in corporate, pivoting to get something like a coaching certification or additional education. Um, for others, it's moving laterally into a different industry altogether or department. And for others, it means leaving the 9 to 5 and starting your own thing, your own business, your own legacy. So I support professionals across all those different directions that they might go in their career. And what's been most fulfilling for me along the journey has been seeing the real like personal transformations for people. Clients that have come in when they started were miserable and unfulfilled in their careers, had no idea what that next step might be and what it might look like, feeling honestly quite hopeless at the moment too. And slowly through our sessions and through frameworks that I share with them, um, getting to the point where they actually gain clarity of what's important to them, what their values are, what it is that they're actually going to be chasing and going after, that doesn't feel like someone else told them to chase it, but feels like their own personal why. It actually feels like work life alignment. It feels like what they truly want to go after. Again, not what the external world told them to do. Seeing that transformation for clients really made me feel like there's a way that I can start sharing this, maybe on a broader scale. Um, I think coaching is such a powerful skill, and I wish everyone in the world had access to a coach. That is something that I believe very strongly that everyone should have access to. And so, through this podcast, making it work, I hope to make that a little bit more accessible to everyone out there who might feel that they need it, might not be able to afford something like full one on one coaching, or just really need the inspiration in certain moments of their career. I really want it to be a space where you can come and get anything you need in that moment in your career, whether it's the clarity, the strategy for pivoting into something else, or if you find yourself in a stage where you are building and you are leading already, how to do that more effectively and how to really make it your own. I always think about leadership as well as a very personal definition. Leadership is not just one thing, someone that's leading. Everyone has their own style, and sometimes it's about figuring it out so that you then feel more natural when you're doing it and you feel more yourself. My goal with this podcast is to bring on people who feel relatable. Um, I want it to be about that regular journey that most of us are on in this life, not the ones who were born into a certain circumstance that allowed that success to happen very early on, although I really believe we also have things to learn from those people too. So not just that scenario, but scenarios of people who have built it from scratch, who have navigated it from the very beginning and tried to figure out what a fulfilling career is to them. And along the way, have had a lot of challenges and have also redefined what that means too. People that have had a career before another career, those are the types of stories that I really believe having access to when you're dealing with your own career unfulfillment helps a lot just to understand that everybody has had those struggles, um, and how they navigated through it, and also the wisdom and the philosophies that they live by now that can really help us shape our own values and philosophies for our own careers. So, on this show, I'll have a mix of formats. Some episodes will be guest conversations with founders, entrepreneurs, creatives, people generally in careers that they love, that they've built from scratch. I'll go deeper into their hardest moments, their biggest pivots, and what it really took to reach success for them. I also want to cover with every guest the in between that it took. What were the early days for them when they were building the businesses and the careers that they now love today? There will also be a mix of solo episodes sharing my own frameworks and tools as a career development coach, all the stuff that I use with clients in hopes that maybe it can help you with your own career clarity, with your own strategy in your career, whether you're pivoting into starting a business, whether you are trying to grow within corporate. I want to make it really practical and honest for you. There will also be a Q&A aspect of my podcast. So if you ever find yourself in a tricky career situation, or generally navigating what career and life alignment looks like to you, I am going to be including a link in this video in the description where you can submit your own situation. I always ask, clients and people who I talk to in conversations to tell me as many details as you can about it, what you're navigating, what that feels like. And what I'm going to do is, in a very anonymized way, share it as an episode on the show and work through the situation with you. So, giving you frameworks, tools, coaching methods that can help you self coach through that situation. I really hope that making it work can feel like a safe space, can feel like a community where you come when you're at your wits' end with your career, where you are navigating career and life and all the challenges in between, and don't want to feel like you're doing it alone. Because from my experience as a coach all these years, is everybody's dealing with some version of refiguring out what they want, building towards something bigger, and all the challenges that come with that in between. This is something that I'm super excited about because it is literally my life's work. I love it so much and I get a lot of fulfillment from it too. So selfishly, this show is a little bit for me too, just to kind of get the enjoyment out of helping others. And I hope that it can be a place where you also feel like you get value out of it too. So welcome to the Making It Work show. I'm your host, Sophia, and I can't wait to see you next time.